So the first theory I want to talk about in terms of personal brand that I tie closely to you. Anybody that's watched the first part of this interview can clearly see you have a lot of passion. You're you're a passionate individual, man. And ever since I've known you, it doesn't matter if it's work related, BRG related, writing your book, whatever the situation is, you bring a lot of passion to the table. You always seem excited to be where you are, to be working on what you're working on. And it makes it really easy to work with you, right? Because it's contagious. When somebody's passionate, it's contagious and it makes other people excited to be around the person, to be working on whatever you're working on, right? It's contagious. So I want to ask you, where does your passion come from?
Full transparency.
Okay.
I am a two-time convicted felon.
Okay.
So for me, I was never supposed to be working at Ronstadt. Like it the 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 way that I got into Ronstadt by the grace of God was I was working for Spirion, which did not do drug screens and background checks at the time for employment.
Mhm.
Ronstadt bought Spirion. So then it was a merger and acquisition. During the merger and acquisition, I got promoted into management. The loophole was managers didn't have to do background checks for Ronstadt. We just got converted in. So my background is not on file for Ronstadt. What that has stopped me from getting in to be determined, right? But I mean, coming in and applying, I don't think I would be at Ronstadt. So my passion is I know I'm not technically supposed to be here. Like it wouldn't have happened. So every day is a blessing at Ronstadt. So yeah, I'm going to come in and I'm going to grind 100% because I appreciate it. I appreciate the blessing that God gave me, and I've been working within this organization for 14 years now. Longest relationship I've ever been in life, right? Um, Fortunately, I'm also under good leadership. You know, when you're a lot of people think that the number one reason why people leave companies is due to pay. It's not. It's due to management. It's the number one reason why people leave an organization. I have been under a management team that has always cultivated in me, that has always challenged me, that has always looked for ways to grow and self-develop, right?
Okay.
Has put me in places to where I could utilize my strengths and work on my weaknesses, has worked with me in tandem, never left me alone, never left me just out stranded, right? Especially if I raise my hand, you know? So when you have somebody that's always there in your corner, you're naturally going to bring your A game. Because not only do I not want to let myself down, I don't want to let that person down. That person's fighting for me. That person's speaking about me in rooms that I'm not invited into, right? That person is making sure that I the next opportunity comes and I at least know about it as opposed to someone else just getting it and I didn't even know about it. And
Right.
I wonder why didn't I have that opportunity? Why didn't I even get to know about it? You know what I mean? So um those are the things that the cards that you're dealt with, right?
Mhm.
Um, where my passion comes from is, you know, once I've now been able to kind of be acclimated into an organization, a global organization, and now I can really, as opposed to just focusing on doing good and kind of remaining under the radar, so to speak, because a lot of people in my situation, that's how they live their corporate lives. Now I can be intentional. I can focus on the things that I feel I want to do personally within my professional organization. So the things that you mentioned that we work on in tandem, all those benefits that you get out of when you work with me, just understand it's because I chose to get into those type of environments because those were part of my passion. Those are things that those are things that I was going to do outside of Ronstadt anyway
Right.
because I wanted to, right? But
Mhm.
now I have the opportunity to do them within Ronstadt, which is even more appealing and more great.
Yeah.
Um, there could be other scenarios to where I'm just working and it's not my passion.
Mhm.
I'm going to put my best foot forward, right? But you may not see that drive, or you may not see the same type of energy because it's not necessarily my passion. So when you think about the definition of passion, it's strong and barely controllable emotion. That's what passion is. Barely controllable, meaning if I don't do this, something's boiling inside of me now because it has to come out,
Mm,
right? And when I am doing it, I'm not getting tired.
okay.
It's its own energy. Is I'm fueling myself as I'm going because it's my passion, right?
Yeah.
So to answer your question, what drives me? I like being in environments to where I can authentically put my best foot forward. When you're doing something that you're passionate about, nobody has to motivate you to do those things.
Yeah.
Nobody has to tell you, it may take you 15 hours to knock this out. You're just going to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Nobody has to tell you, hey, look, you're not going to get paid for overtime, but you need to meet this deadline,
Yeah.
and you may have to work this weekend to do it.
Okay.
You're just going to get it done. Hey, on Monday, it's done. It'll be done. We got a 12 o'clock call. I'll be ready for the call. It's that's your motivator. So I and I would say maybe out of 14 years, I would say maybe the past 5 have been to where I had the opportunity to where I could focus on things that I was passionate about, like truly passionate about.
Got it. Okay. So last 5 years, chance to focus on some things that were really close to your heart, things you really care about, enjoy, right? The time before that, because we said in 14 years, so there was like 9 years or so prior to you getting into that sweet spot where you could really pick what you wanted to focus on, right? So
Mhm.
I initially heard you start with gratitude, right? You mentioned your background, two-time convicted felon. Opportunity opened up for you just by chance of the circumstances and the man upstairs, right? Whereas in normal circumstances, you would have been denied an opportunity based on the past. God intervened,
I wouldn't even have applied to Ronstadt.
even applied. Okay, so wouldn't even have applied to the opportunity, right? So door closed, whether you keep it closed or whether it's closed on you, door closed, right? But God opened that door. And so your gratitude for that opportunity, acknowledging that, hey, I normally wouldn't even be in this situation. You're making the most out of it because you're grateful. And I also hear, obviously, man of faith, right? I hear that under there as well. You feel thankful and so grateful to God as well, not just the people who gave you the opportunity, that you want to honor that. So
Mhm.
so I hear gotta say faith as well. Because I think you being a man of faith is also driving that gratitude and that mentality of I'm gonna make the most of this because I have an opportunity that other people like me in my situation are denied, don't have, right? So I think as long as we're on this subject, topic is passion and the importance of that in a personal brand. And so you share with us where your passion comes from, right? So, and I think it's clear, that you think it's important for somebody to be passionate about what they do. Can you explain why or why not? Like, why is it important for somebody to be passionate, or if you think it's not so important, which I don't think you think, but can you share with us why it would be important to be passionate about what you do?
So I always have an expression that I kind of say. I say, if you're not busy, you're not needed.
Hmm.
If you're, but if you're too busy, you can get overwhelmed. If you're productive, it's not being busy. I could be busy doing a lot of things and get nothing accomplished,
Okay.
which is going to wear me out, right? I could be productive getting things accomplished and be busy. If I'm passionate about the things that I'm productive in doing, I won't get tired.
Hmm.
I won't get overwhelmed. I have a bad day, right? But I'll be able to pick myself up because I know why I'm doing it. And in most cases, if it's something that you're passionate about, you raised your hand to do that. It wasn't thrown on you. It wasn't someone else's obligation that they just put on you because it was part of your job. It was something that you said, in addition to what I'm doing, I'm raising my hand. I want to do that.
Hmm.
I want to be a part of that. And most things that you sign up for willingly are the things that you talk about all the time. And that's the motivator. Like that's the fuel. So, for me, when we're talking about when we're talking about passion, I'm not talking about the project management job that I'm doing. We're talking about the Fair Chance BRG.
Yeah. Talk a
Like
little bit
these are
about that.
those are the motivators. Those are the things that get you up and help you to get out of bed to
Hmm.
go check in to wherever you have to check into to
Hmm.
make sure that you accomplish those things. Those are the things that have you going to sleep late and you're fine with it. When you wake up, I only had 3 hours of sleep, but you're fine with it because you know why. But I got that done. Perfect. So for me, I think, but also keep in mind, out of 14 years, the first 9 was my personal branding. I wasn't doing anything that I was passionate about.
Yeah, and now you're getting to what I wanted to ask you, which was I heard you talking about when it's something close to your heart, something you really care about, right? It's something you would be willing to raise your hand for. What about the people who are out there that let's say they haven't discovered their purpose or passion? Because I heard a little bit of purpose stuff in there too, right? Once you if you know something that's kind of tied to your purpose, that kind of triggers your passion and it gives you that engine,
Mm-hmm,
that fuel to pull from where you don't get tired, what you were just talking about, right?
mm-hmm,
That person who feels like they don't know their purpose or they don't have a sense of passion, they don't really feel that energized or up or pumped up about anything specific, right? Any specific area. What can that person do to bring a sense of passion to what they do outside of that? Or would you say they're just maybe in the wrong area? What do you?
you can everybody's different, right? So when we talk about passion, your your passion for something could be a hobby, not necessarily work related, right? It could be crochet. I want to I want to knit a blanket in a
Mhm.
month. So every weekend I'm not going out because that's my time to knit. And I got 4 weekends to make my blanket.
Mhm.
And I want to make this blanket. And I'm my wife's birthday is next month, and this is going to be my gift to her. She's
Mhm.
going to know I put all my heart into that blanket, and she's going to cherish it. But it's a surprise, like, but that's your passion, right? Um, there in corporate America, you have worker bees, you have people that just want to come in, do their time, walk out, right? You
Mhm.
have leaders, you have people that are always looking for the next best thing. So everybody's passion level is going to be totally different. I still recommend that someone finds some type of passion so that way you're not just on the hamster wheel, so to speak.
Yeah.
If you're not doing anything to if you're not doing anything to fuel your soul, which I think is what passion does, being passionate about something and carrying that forward and executing on that and chasing that,
Mhm.
if you're not doing those type of things, at some point I feel like you will be burnt out.
Hmm.
And we can talk about physical fatigue. We could talk about mental fatigue. I think mental fatigue is worse than physical fatigue. I think if you have a passion for something, you're focused on that, that can help not wear you out mentally.
Okay. And so I heard you mention some things. Sometimes it's things outside the workplace. So even if you're not in a profession that's tied to a passion or purpose of yours, if you have some things going on in your life that you're passionate about, that serve as that outlet, it can still give you that fuel to help balance out whatever you're doing to maybe just, put food on the table, provide for your family. So even if it's not your job per se, having something in your life that you're passionate about, that really moves you, that energizes you, can help serve as fuel for you so you don't get burned out, even from your job, because you have an outlet for your purpose and passion. Is that what you're trying
Right.
to say?
Correct. I was, so the first 9 years, I was working, grinding,
Mm-hmm.
right? Personal branding, right? Um, when I had free time, I was working with nonprofit organizations to try to see how I can assist with getting people hired because I
Okay.
was on the front end of recruitment and staffing, right?
Right.
I wasn't doing it at work though,
Mm-hmm.
but I saw an out. I saw I'm working for this global organization. I have to figure out a way to where I can help them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have leverage. I have clients. I have orders. I just had to figure out how to actually get their foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't doing it for Ronstead, but I was working on my passion. That was something that I wanted to figure out. Then, ironically, 13 years later, I got my own business resource group to do it. So I'm like, okay,
Hold on now. Hold on now. You said ironically. Do we think that was ironically? Because
I didn't I didn't see it coming.
but let's think about this though. Okay, so you said you were doing it outside the company. So first 9 years building your personal brand, gratitude is fueling you, right? Your faith. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm making the most out of it. Build my personal brand, showing up, showing out, right? Not operating in your passion lane yet, but outside of work, you were still touching on it, right? You were touching on that passion. You were active in it, right? Could it be that the fact that you were active in it outside of work eventually brought the opportunity to you because you were being active in that area outside of work? And so ultimately later on, the opportunity was presented to you to do something like that through Ron Stott because you have been preparing yourself. Do you think that that's a possibility?
Well, 100%. And but the reason why, from that standpoint, is in my one-on-ones, I would talk to my boss about things that I'm doing outside of work.
So you made people
And
aware.
I'm like, hey, like we have to figure this out. Like we
Okay.
we have to figure this out.
So
Like I'm
I
on it.
got it.
I'm working on it, but we have to figure this out in some way, shape, form, or fashion, right? But did I see a roadmap to that? Absolutely not. I
But you
saw
planted
myself
seeds
doing
though.
it outside. But yeah, the seed was definitely planted and it blossomed into a beautiful plant, 100%. So yeah, just being in it and being passionate about it, you're talking about it. You talk about the things that drive you, right? With the people that you're comfortable with, right?
Mhm.
Fortunately, I'm comfortable with my manager. So I have our one-on-ones are more conversational than anything, unless we have certain topics, right? Hey,
Mhm.
how's your weekend? I got this. I'm about to be partnering with this nonprofit organization. I'm doing this. Da, da, da. You know what I mean? Like, I'm comfortable talking to my manager about things like that. And then when the opportunity presented itself in an email, she's like, oh, hold on.
Mhm.
Connect, 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 connect. Y'all all need to talk. And boom, yeah, blossomed to a beautiful plant. So the intentionality was there only because I was in it and doing it, but not necessarily because it was a path for it.
Right. But
That's what I mean,
so,
ironically.
yeah, but even so, right? And that's even more relevant, I think, because I'm putting myself into the position of a person that they're working a job that's not tied to any area of passion, right? They're showing up every day, they're doing the best they can, right? They're like, is there ever going to be an opportunity for me to work in my purpose or have it overlap with my profession at all, right? They don't see a path to it. Maybe it's not directly connected, right? So from your experience, you got involved in it outside of work, right? So you were touching on it. You planted seeds with the people you were working with about this passion along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So all that kind of culminated in the opportunity eventually coming to you and being presented to you to actually do something bigger in a professional capacity later down the road, even though you weren't pulling the puppet strings to make that happen. You
Right.
you planted the seed and watered the seed that eventually brought forth the harvest for you to be able to do that, even though you couldn't see clearly the outcome, right? And so what I'm saying is there's people out there, they're working a job, they're like, oh, is there ever going to be anything that has more meaning to it for me out there, right? It sounds like it's important for that person to find an outlet for their purpose and passion or figure out what that is and
Absolutely.
get involved in it, even if it's not at their job, right? Even if it's outside, to begin to set the wheels in motion for something God might have for them to do bigger down the road, even though they don't know what it is yet, right? So that's what I'm hearing from your story is even if you can't make it happen at work, figure out what that passion and purpose is, touch on it outside of work. It gives you balance and gives you fuel, like you said, so that you don't get burned out on your job, just providing, right? But then also it plants the seeds that you're watering that could bring a bigger opportunity to you later down the line, even though you don't know exactly what that's going to look like.
Agreed. Definitely have to have a pursuit to your own happiness,
Yeah.
and your passion will drive you to your happiness 100%.
Man, okay. Okay. And I appreciate you sharing that.
And then controlling what you can control
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
So just because I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel doesn't mean I shouldn't walk down the tunnel.
There you go.
If my passion is telling me go, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
go, go. So control what you can control. I would say that too. And you'll see how much more you end up being able to control. That was my lesson from pursuing my passion
Okay. Did you ever pray on it?
all the time,
Okay. Think that made a
all the
difference?
time, 100%.
Okay.
Bro, I am limitless. I am limited. God is limitless. So when you want great things to happen into your life, don't base it off of your hands and your wherewithal.
Amen.
Absolutely not.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Man, that was a great story because I think we ended up kind of landing on something that I didn't intentionally see when I started down the road to the conversation. But I just wanted to make sure we talked about fair chance and your passion. And I think we ended up some really good information for the listeners. So thank you for that.
No, thank
Uh,
you. I had a little self-reflection myself.
Last question on passion before we go to the next topic. We're gonna talk a little bit about positivity, but let's say obviously there's people out there, man. World life can be tough. People out there are going through it. They're going through tough times. They're discouraged. Um, Sometimes you just can't see the way forward that things are going to get better. And maybe there's somebody out there that's been working towards a goal, working towards a dream, but just doesn't seem to be happening, whether it's getting a promotion or something personal, whatever situation might be. How does that person maintain their passion if they're going through personal hardships, somebody's sick, husband or wife lost a job, something's going on, right? How does that person maintain their level of passion during hard times, whether it's I've been working towards something that's not happening or I've got personal hardships at home?
I may not be the best person to answer this question. And, it may sound like I have no empathy. That's why I say that. But I have plenty of empathy. Um, so my caveat to that is, when is life easy?
Mm,
When is life easy? When do you wake up and everything just falls into your lap and every goal that you had accomplishes itself and you reap the benefits of it? When do you only put in 25%, but you get 75% ROI on that effort? Like, when is life ever easy? When is life easy? And so I say that from a standpoint to say I've been blessed. I've always had my mother and my father in my life. They weren't necessarily together, but they were always there for me. They were always in my life,
Okay.
right? I grew up from kindergarten to my senior year of high school. I went to a Catholic school all my life. So, I've it could have been worse, 100%. And at the same time, when was life easy? Like, when was it just easy? Or when things just fall into my lap? It's always going to be challenges. I feel like if there was no sorrow, how would you understand and appreciate smiling? If there was no pain, how would you understand and appreciate healing? So I look at this from a totally different perspective. Um, to go on to your point, if I'm constantly faced with challenges, how do I kind of keep myself going? It's kind of what I've heard, right?
Mhm.
Do just that. Just own it. Know it's you. You have to keep yourself going. Don't rely on anybody else to help you through it or keep yourself going. If somebody comes into your circle and they want to ally and they want to, let you cry on their shoulder, that's a bonus. That's great. God just put somebody great in your life. Take it for what it is. But the same token, you're going to leave that person at some point and then go back to you. You have to drive you. You have to motivate you. You have to challenge you to be better today than what you were yesterday. Nobody else can do that for you. It's a word called self-esteem. If you're losing yourself, you're losing yourself. The world is bent on harming you. Like, that's what it's designed to do. There's no perfection in this world. Don't rely on it. Rely on yourself. Control what you can control. So if for me, getting out, now I'm at a standpoint to where I'm like, okay, I got out. I get my paper that says I'm rehabilitated. I moved. I left Ohio. I came to Florida. Start fresh, right? My father moved to Florida before. He said, I want to get you out of this scenario to save your life. And he was absolutely right. My father wears a cape. Well, my father is my hero without wearing a cape. Every time I see him, I see my hero just for that.
Mm.
And I was going throughout life trying to, for one, become an adult, become independent, learn how to be grown, right? Because I'm like 19, 20,
Mhm.
and in a whole nother state, culture shock and everything. And I'm going through interviews. People are loving me during these interviews. I do the background check, nothing. In most cases, I would do an application before even an interview. Never get a phone call. I'm hearing nothing but no's. Nothing but no's. When I know I can do these jobs that I'm applying to,
Mhm.
when I know I'll be a great benefit to this organization if they give me a shot,
Mm.
right? I'm hearing nothing but no's though. So was I frustrated? 100%. Did I have goals that I was not meeting and timelines that I was not accomplishing? 100%. Does that add to it? Yes. Was my family looking at me like, when are you going to get something going for yourself? Like, now they're looking at me like, are you trying hard enough?
Mm.
Even more frustration.
Yeah.
They didn't necessarily say it, but you could see it on their face, right? You could
Mhm.
see it, right? So then it's like, okay, you know what? Let me go back to what I was doing. Like, this is why I didn't even want to take this approach. But no, I had to tell myself, you're changing, you're growing. This is what normal people do. Like, you have to do this.
Mhm.
Figure it out. Figure it out. So what I told myself was, instead of getting to the finish line, let me take steps because I need to see some wins. And this is how I can answer your question. I need to see some wins. Little wins are better than none at all. Because right now I'm getting none at all. So I started figuring out how, as opposed to turning a no into a yes, how can I turn a no into a maybe?
Hmm.
Let me get it to a maybe. I don't know how, but I started getting maybes. I started getting, oh, I want to hire you. Let me go to bat for you to my corporate company and see if I can get you in. It's a maybe. Hey, I tried. I couldn't. Oh, that was a maybe. It's fine. That's motivation to me though. You actually cared. You actually saw me for who I was, not for what I am on paper. That was the maybe. Okay, now I'm getting people to see me for who I am, not just see me for what I am on paper.
Hmm.
So now let me be a little bit more strategic. I can't apply to these type of jobs any longer. Let me go into sales. No background checks in sales. And I'm an introvert. Like, believe it or not, I am
Yeah,
an
that's
introvert.
that's a hard one to believe, but go ahead. I'm gonna take your word for it for now. But
So, my father was in sales. My stepmom at the time was also in sales. So I was in a household full of sales. I liked how they would come home and talk about their stories, their sales stories, right? So I'm like, you know what? Let me figure it out. My father was always in the car business. I didn't want to go into the car business. That's your niche. Let me find my own. So I started doing a whole bunch of different type of sales jobs. Now I'm turning the maybes into yeses. Now I'm actually making some money. It's not necessarily in my comfort zone, but I'm uncomfortable with people telling me no.
yeah,
So which is the most uncomfort? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Going here,
choose
being
discomfort.
uncomfortable, doing something different, right? But making some money, or not doing anything at all, besides hearing another person tell me no. So for me, if I was to say, when life is hitting you hard, when you're focused on something, but you're not getting there, find a way to go in through the back door. And
Okay.
the way you do that is by being creative and motivating yourself to walk on the other side of the door. It's a longer walk. This is a big building.
Hmm.
I'm walking to the front, the door is locked. I got to walk all the way around to the back of this door. And while I'm walking, I'm checking windows. I'm going to see if the windows are open. If
Yeah.
the windows are open, maybe I'll just crawl through the window. All the windows are locked. More no's. Okay, but I'm still walking. And eventually I'm going to get to the back door. And then now that I noticed it was a long journey, a long trip, I'm sweaty and everything, but the door is wide open.
Hmm.
And the door has a sign on it that says the front door is locked. Come through the back. Look at that. Look at what my efforts got me.
Hmm.
I was misinformed. You know what I mean? So I would I would say find ways to motivate yourself and keep yourself going. Anything else that someone else is going to do for you, that's a bonus. Take it and appreciate it. But keep driving yourself. Keep looking in the mirror and understanding who you are, who your personal brand is.
Yeah.
And if you got to get creative, if you got to pivot, pivot.
Yeah.
A
And
pivot. I rather pivot and keep walking as opposed to being stagnant and being stuck in one position or having to backtrack.
yeah, I heard you a couple of things in there too. You use your strengths because I heard your problem solving hat several times when you were talking about your approach, uh, getting no's, finding a way to get a maybe, right? Going into sales, no background checks there. Let's start there, right? Let's build some confidence and get some quick wins, right? So problem solving hat, asset of yours that you leveraged, strength of yours that you leveraged in trying to find a way, right? When it looked like there wasn't going to be a way or that it was going to be super difficult. So I heard you doing that. Um, Gratitude. I can just feel the gratitude too because you tend to always kind of look at the positive side of things. I've noticed that about you as well, which we're going to talk about positivity too. So you take a situation that looks frustrating, where somebody else might give up, and you find something positive about it or a potential positive outcome. And then you focus on that instead of focusing on the downside. So that's something else that I've noticed about you that helps you too. And that gratitude is huge because just being grateful, even though things are going wrong, being grateful for the things that are going right, being grateful for the things that you do have, and thankful and focusing on that and realizing that it could be worse. no matter what the circumstances are, it could be worse. So those are some things I heard in there that might be helpful as well, in addition to what you said, going in the back door, find another way, not giving up, and finding a way to motivate and keep yourself going. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. And everything you say, I can feel the passion. I can feel the passion in all of it, man.